Hi, it's Jane, and I went to Hobby Lobby, and I didn't plan on buying any yarn, but yeah, did get some. I did get a haircut today, and I did want to tell you, those of you that follow my daily Bible reading with Jane, just want to let you know, I film ahead of time, so I'm probably got most of them filmed ahead of time. The prayers, sometimes I do those separate and then add it in. So, and maybe why the hair looks different. Anyway, they had 3 full carts full up in the front with leftover yarns from their sale. And this is, I love this yarn, for $1.24. And it is in the color Kaleidoscope. And I always think that makes such a pretty hat. I mean, it's such gorgeous colors. So I did get that one. And then they had 4 of these. And this is the color blue camo stripe, which I'm not sure why they call it blue camo stripe. Guess in a way it is blue camo. There were 4 of those. So I picked up all 4. Figure they can go in a nice project. And then there were a couple of Soft and Sleek Baby for 99 cents. There was, let me get them all together. There were 2 in Butterfly Kiss. And this has some real light shades of pink, green, a little bit, pink and green mostly. Slight color, tinge of blue here and there. And then there were also 2 of the Puppy Love. And the Puppy Love is one of those that it's kind of like flecked. It's like an off-white, and then there are little patches of color. Blue. And like an orangish. Some green in there. Little flecks. Focus, camera, focus. So, yeah, I did pick those up. Like I said, I hadn't really planned on getting yarn. But, they convinced me to buy yarn. So I bought some yarn. So anyway, thought I would show you that. And then we would sit and talk a little bit more. I've been working on some, I know you're enjoying the top of my head. Sorry about that, folks. I have been working on some of the Bible, what I call the Bible purses. Only these are different. The zipper is along the side of it. It does have 2 pockets on the front. Still has that elastic so it can go around a book, planner, that kind of thing. But I had someone ask me if I would, consider changing that up a little bit instead of putting the zipper in the middle. And I thought, yeah, why don't I? It'd be more like a pouch. She said, yeah, it'd be easier for her to slip her phone in there as well. So, and I'm sure it depends on the size of the phone, because I tried not to make it too big of a pouch, but we'll see. I got them all cut out and ready to go, and so yeah. And I have to tell you, Izzy was trying to help me with it. She was trying to sit on the cutting table, and I don't let her sit up there when I'm cutting. I kept trying to get her away from it. She kept jumping up there. And I have marking tools up there because lots of times I mark things as I'm, after I've cut them, I'll mark them for certain things so I know which way is up or, where I'm going to put the zipper, that kind of thing. With a lot of projects that I'm doing. And she kept trying to grab the pens and gnaw on the ends of the scissors. And she has never done that before. And I'm like, I don't know what your deal is today, but you need to get down. So I finally, convinced her to get down and get away. And that's highly unusual. The most that she does is lots of times she'll sleep on that ironing board. Occasionally, usually she's in my chair or right under my feet while I'm trying to sew. She normally doesn't get up on anything. So I don't know what the deal is with her. But then, once she got off, I had to wipe everything down with Clorox wipes again. I do that to help. I do that before I start cutting, after I finish cutting, not only to help pull any fur, because I don't know if they're up there when I'm sleeping, I do know that they're not on the fabric, because the fabric is closed. It's not just laying out there on top for them to lay on. So, generally what I will do is I will wipe it down really good and just sanitize the whole thing. Basically, it started doing that with during COVID because you wanted to make sure there were no germs that you were spreading any further to anyone else, whatever, that kind of thing. And of course, it's always just good practice to clean up, after you finish sewing anyway. And generally I do take because they're called self-healing mats, but they do need to be reconditioned. And generally I will take distilled water in a spray bottle, spray it on top and let it sit for a while, and then I will wipe it dry. After it's sat, usually about 30 minutes, sometimes longer, so that it'll help keep that mat fresh longer, because mats are expensive, folks. It used to be that you could go to places and they would have some great sales on mats, cutting mats. Like you would be able to find a 50% off coupon, or they would mark them down. What are you doing? But lately we're not seeing that, so I think Joann's you can probably still get cutting mats. But I think all they sell are the old cutting mats. I don't think they sell the Tourette's anymore. What are you doing? Huh? I know. You don't know who I am. He's not real sure about the haircut. That's all I got to say. He keeps sniffing me, getting up and sniffing my hair. I guess he doesn't like it. But, yeah, you got to keep those conditioned. And I really don't want to go soak it in a bathtub filled with water to condition it, and then have to dry that off. Pull it up out of a bathtub. I mean, goodness gracious. That'd be crazy. Such a goofy cat. I had gone out earlier today, to the Hobby Lobby, and I was gone. And I didn't realize that I didn't shut the garage door. The garage door from the house into the garage. And when I got home, I was like, I wonder if they went snooping. They didn't give any indication that they were in there. But I know times I've moved the totes in there and everything, they're constantly trying to go into the garage. Now they've gone in just past the doorway, and then they get freaked and run back into the house. So, crazy cats. And I find it interesting, all of the banks, because Columbus Day, Indigenous Peoples Day, is Monday. All of the banks seem to be doing their downtime maintenance, during this weekend, so things won't be available, which, I find that interesting. But, yeah. And I'm trying to figure out how to come up with some halfway decent main dishes. I'm volunteering for the main meal one time, and I'm not real sure how to get that, It's for about 20 people. I don't know if I have anything big enough for 20 people. Pots, that kind of thing, big enough. But I will do my best. It's not this week, but the following week I'm coming up with a dish for the main dish. And I was thinking about chicken, broccoli, and rice casserole. Lots of cheese. It's one of my favorites. So I was thinking about maybe making that. So we'll see. It was cold this morning here. It was like 41 degrees. I woke up, I was not ready for that, I tell you. That just was not something I was looking at, thinking would happen this soon. Generally around Halloween, closer to Halloween, we see colder weather. But supposedly we're supposed to be getting some colder weather next couple of days. I'm not looking forward to that. I like the cooler weather, but I don't like when it starts getting really cold at night. Did you guys go out and see the Aurora Borealis last couple of nights? I went out last night, and I learned that if you take your phone and you turn off the flash, you take a picture of the area where the Borealis is, it'll show up, but you have to hold your camera still because it's a slow exposure. So I got a couple of pictures, and I'll put them up here. But I thought it was really fascinating to see. Of course, where I'm at, there's a lot of trees in the way because I'm up in a mountain area. So there are a bit too many trees to be able to really get a good picture like some of the other gals. Some of the gals that I go to church with or post in some of theirs, some of them live out like in a farm where it's, fairly flat, and they got some stunning pictures. And they also got a lot of pictures where you could actually see that like the waves of the borealis. So it was kind of neat to see that. And I always loved going out to sea and look. Thomas and I used to always do that. Go out up on the dike and see if we could see it. Sometimes we got some decent pictures, sometimes we didn't. But I did think that was interesting, being able to use the cell phone to get some of those pictures. So do you guys do anything wonderful and exciting for Columbus Day or Indigenous People Day? Does your community have anything that they do for it? I know for Italians, it's considered a day of celebration. Of course, I never understood why it was because we weren't actually discovered by Columbus. I mean, he discovered the Haitian Islands, that area. Didn't really discover America. That was some guy named Americanus, something like that. And he actually found our continent with the United States on it. Of course, the United States wasn't around when he found it. But I always found it funny because Columbus didn't really discover the northern continent. But, whatever. And of course, there's that whole rigmarole about some of the things that the Spaniards, sailing a Spaniard ship for Spain, about how some of the Spaniards attacked the indigenous people there. And yeah, they were brutal, but folks, in that time and age, everything was brutal. I mean, just living day to day was brutal. And the brutality was ridiculous. So I just look at it like it was just a normal part of whatever that day and time was. They want to conquer the people, and even though the indigenous people there on the continent were friendly and welcomed them and thought they were gods and did all these wonderful things for them, you see how they were treated, turned into slaves, killed, murdered, that kind of thing. It just makes you think about how brutal history was in the past. Aren't you glad it's not that brutal? Well, it still is. In a way, I guess. We have countries, committing brutal acts against each other. Of course, we always got to get our nose in their business and join in the frivolity, I guess. Which I don't know about you, but I'm kind of sick of that kind of nonsense. Gets kind of old seeing it over and over. You know, really would like for us to not be in a war at some time. And I had turned the TV on this morning when I first got up and was watching GMA, which I rarely watch. I mean, generally I just move on to something else. But I was like, let's see what they got to say today. Every once in a while I'll peruse them. Then I remember why I quit watching them, because they're all full of nonsense and idiocy. And they were showing the thing with Obama, his speech last night for Harris. And I listened to part of it, and then I kind of got disgusted with him because, once again, he was race baiting. And then across on the Chiron came something about, can't remember exactly, blacks, something. What was it? Blacks shouldn't be voting for Trump. To see if I can find it again. Oh, Obama claims black men voting for Trump over Harris is not acceptable. How is that not race baiting? Shouldn't we be able to choose who we vote for based on our hopes, dreams, what they stand for, what they do or don't do, they've done in the past? I mean, basically I've come to the conclusion that if a politician is spouting they're going to promise to do something, most often it's just a lie. I mean, that seems to be true for all these politicians, but then again, they seem to have pie in the sky dreams, changing things, not realizing how it works, and I think that's why they make the promises they make. Sometimes I think they make them because they think, we're stupid enough to believe them. And sometimes we are stupid enough to believe them. So, But I do find that rather disgusting of President Obama, and beneath him, frankly, to make a comment like that. I guess he still expects people to be sticking on the plantation. But, yeah, just found that really distasteful. See that? So, of course, then I turned it on to Cartoon Network. That wasn't any better because it was some stupid cartoon. So, family finally said, all right, that's it, turned it off. Couldn't stand any of that. Couldn't find any game shows. So, yeah. Just found that very distasteful. And I'm glad that so many of our folks in Florida escaped, some major damage. I think all of the different podcasters that I watch from Florida, they were all safe and sound. Most of them had electricity. Some had internet, some did not. But at least they were able to let people know that they were safe. So glad to hear that. And I was really worried about Billy because, the original forecasts were that it was going to come direct into Sarasota County. And I think that's where she's at, is Sarasota County. I think that's where North Point is. And I was really worried about her being in that apartment that entire time. But she did come on and she did a video, updating us on the stuff and showing us some of the debris that was out there and explaining some of the things that went on. Of course, Abby was none the worse for wear, other than she was probably a little more clingy than normal. Because we know how cats get when they're clingy, right? Don't get me wrong, I do love both of these cats, and I do spoil them rotten. I give them a lot of love and attention, and so when I'm sewing, they feel deprived, which I think is interesting. But I will tell you, I'm to the point I'm getting pretty fed up with them when they get to running and playing at night, because they keep knocking over their water dish, and I keep coming out to a big old puddle of water. And I'm like, well, at least that part of the kitchen's clean. The floor is good and clean, because it gets cleaned every day. Every single day. We have a couple of places here that are ramping up with some craft fairs, and looking forward to going out and seeing what's out there. Always like to see what the new trends are, I do notice that a lot of the crochet ones, a lot of those folks have a ton of amigurumi, and some of their prices I think are fair. Some of them I think are a little high. But then again, pricing is something that is hard to do, because you want to try to get your money back for the amount that you spend to make it, including all your supplies. And then, of course, you also want to make a few dollars on top of that and pay yourself for the time that you did the work. So, and I can certainly understand that. I often will make quilts for people, and quite often it's usually a queen or a king size that they want, and they'll choose the fabric, and I'll tell them how much fabric I need, and they can either purchase it themselves, order it, and have it sent to me. And generally, after that, I will tell them what the cost of the batting is, depending on the type of batting they want. Do they want polyester? Do they want thick, thin? Do they want cotton? Do they want a polyester cotton blend? Do they want a wool blend or a wool cotton blend? And explain the whole things to them. And then generally I do charge about $300 to $400 for my time to make that quilt. There's a lot that goes in to making a quilt, and a lot of people have no idea. And generally I give them, a roundabout time. Try to get it done within 2 weeks, unless I have a lot of other activities that are going on. And generally I let them know. We'll let them know that it might take up to 3 weeks. And then if they want it shipped, I'll ship. They're local, I'll deliver. And local is generally within about 50 miles of me, I consider local, that I would deliver to. So, I don't know what happened there. Of course, my price also includes the quilting of the fabric. A lot of places, a lot of quilters do not do their own quilting. They send out for it. And I do know that a lot of quilters that use long arms to quilt will charge you per stitch. And although I do know one woman that charges a flat fee of $150 to quilt your quilt regardless of the size. So I do have a friend that has a long arm that will allow you to come to her house. She'll help you set the thing up, put it on the long arm quilter, and she'll show you how to get it quilted. You can quilt it, and if you're doing it for charity, she doesn't charge you for that use. So that's always something that's been good. So, of course, if I'm doing, sometimes it just depends, but there are times if I have a couple of charity quilts that I have ready to go that need to be quilted, I'll simply ask her if I can come over to her house and use the long arm, because I can generally get that quilting done for both of those quilts in a full 8-hour day. It's a lot of standing and it's a lot of movement. But, get it done, get it out of the way. And then I bring it back home, trim it, and then put the binding on. So, I don't know how I got talking about quilting, but that's always been fun. And yes, I can quilt on my machine, and I do often quilt on my machine. There's just a way of rolling it up for you to get those quilts in there. But yeah. That's just the way it goes. And I find it fun to do the free motion quilting. I've always enjoyed doing that. Now I do need to practice, and it's a good idea to do a lot of practicing so that you can get good at doing the different motifs and different things. And I will tell you, there are some days the machine behaves perfectly and works right with me. There are other days that it is simply a pain in the rear. And that's the only way I can describe it. Oops, it's in the wrong one. Because sometimes it's just that, it's a pain. Your machine just doesn't want to work with you. Sometimes you just have to give up the fight and move on. Go do something else. I have done that frequently. Moved on to something else. Because Lily Bell did not want to work. Yeah, I give my machines nicknames. And I baby those girls. Do baby my machines, definitely. So, Yeah. My area, they don't do anything special for the Columbus Day holiday, Indigenous Day. I don't even think we have protests around here for that. If there are, I'd be surprised at it. Usually it's just another day, an extra day off for most people. So have you been working on your projects as we talk? How are they coming along? Are you finding more time to do them as we sit and talk a little bit? And as you listen to me chatter about nothing and everything, including rants here and there. And I keep telling myself I need to get off my rear end and get those pictures put up on my Jane Wynn's Designs page on Facebook. So if folks want to purchase those Halloween or those Christmas bags, they can do it. That means I have to sit and take the pictures. I didn't keep the pictures from previous, so can't put those up, so now I have to take new pictures. And that'll probably take me about an hour and a half. And then to edit them, about another hour. You know? People seem to think it goes by quickly, but it does take a little time to get those things done. And I'll admit I'm guilty about not getting them done quick enough. I guess that means I'm a procrastinator, right? Do any of you procrastinate? I need to get out of that habit. Lots of times I put off a lot of things till the end. You know, which is not a good idea. It is not good at all to do that. So I need to get a little better at that. Need to find someone to crack the whip with me. Get me to stop doing that nonsense. But, I've always been the type of person at the last minute I can get a lot done. A lot taken care of. It's just getting myself motivated enough. And there are some days that I am not motivated at all. And I don't know what that's about. I don't know why, I get in that habit of not getting things done. Wouldn't it be simpler just get it done and over with, right? So, yeah, just think it's kind of crazy, some things you do. How we almost self-sabotage ourselves. I think that's probably why I have craft ADD, is because I see something I want to start, and then I don't want to finish what I have already started because I'm too busy trying to get the one thing that I wanted to start started and work on it for a while until I get tired of it to start something new. True confessions here, folks. It's not a good thing. I do know that I believe I heard on Billy's Live that Nancy had said if you're sending blankets to Boggy Creek, you still can go ahead and send them. She's not been having any issues not getting them. And I don't think the post office is having real big issues with getting things done. It may be just a little slower. You know, if you're expecting it to get there within 3 to 5 days, it may take 7 days. But so far, that's the biggest thing that I'm hearing. Now, the other thing that I'm hearing that I'm not real thrilled about is that there's another hurricane coming, and it looks like it's going to take the same path as Helene. And I hope that it does not. Those people have been through enough, you know. And of course, they still haven't found everyone that they're looking for. I do know I have a friend that works with search and rescue and recovery. And he has told me that the media keeps giving this amount of like 240 people are dead. He said he thinks it's more than that. Like maybe 5 times that. But he said from what he's seen and what they've recovered and they've taken to the refrigerated trucks, there's a lot more than that. And that's one of those things that I wish that was a rumor. But I don't think it is this time, unfortunately. And we still have a lot of people that they haven't found. I was reading an article where they found 11 family members in one house that had all died from the hurricane in North Carolina. And I'm like, oh, that is just crazy. But then the good news is I've also been seeing a lot of videos of people that have come to get foods at some of the different church places where they're, you know, cooking food on campsites and handing out food left and right. A lot of them by the river, and they are actually being baptized. So I find that amazing, especially during a time of struggle like this. You know? So, and I don't know if you guys saw the little video, Dr. Phil with the little 83-year-old that needed some help and asked for some water and some stuff, you know, if they could help her. And seemed like a little sweet lady. And the stories that he was talking about with some of the rescues that he's been working with the Samaritan's Purse. I can't remember the other organization. Can't remember exactly. And it's always neat to see those videos of the mule teams actually taking in things into areas that you can't get to. And then, of course, we're still seeing those different TikTok videos and whatnot, Instagram, of folks talking about how they're working along to clear the roads and, you know, basically make some makeshift roads back into these communities. And FEMA's coming along and telling them they have to stop because they're not registered to work, or they're not doing it the way they want it to. Which, I'm sorry, when you're in Appalachia, they'll do what they want to do. And they will kick your butt if you're getting in their way. I have done some home health visits in the past in the Appalachia, in the area of Asheville. And I can tell you, those people are tough. A lot of them don't have a pot to piss in. Those that are in Asheville are kind of a hippie kind of lot of people. Some of them have money. There is some money there, and some don't. But one lady that I was seeing in Asheville had to go do wound care. And at that time, we did not, the normal suppliers were running low of normal saline. And I don't remember why. So we actually had to go in and boil water, make our own saline to do wound care with. Used to, I would ask them, can I just, make up quite a few bottles in mason jars to take with me, or, to pour into a washed out milk jug, and they would tell me, no, you have to do it there at the home. I'm like, okay, fine, whatever. So I go into this woman's home and I ask her, I tell her what I'm there to do, and we talk a little bit, and I do her vital signs and all of that. And then I ask her, because I looked around and I didn't notice that there seemed to be any running water. Well, and I will tell you, the floors were dirt floors. It is very packed dirt floor, but she said to me, you have to go down about half a mile down the road there to the short pump and bring it back. I said, okay. Do you need more water? Oh, while I'm down there, might as well grab as much as I can carry. And at that time, I could carry about 4-gallon jugs full at a time, which is about 32 pounds. And so she gave me her jugs to take down there, and I filled them. It was a half a mile down, half a mile back up to her house. And then I started boiling the water so I could add the salt to it to make the saline solution to do her wound care. And in the meantime, I'm sitting talking with her, and I had said to her, is there anything I can do for you here in the house, while we're waiting? She's like, well, do you mind sweeping the floor? Now, to me, there wasn't a floor to sweep, but to her there was. So I swept her floor for her, and we did a little couple of other things. And then once the saline solution had cooled enough, then I did her wound care, bagged up, put the rest into the gallon jug, the gallon container for her, so that she would have it later for the next nurse that would come and do the wound care. So I'd written on it that it was saline solution, so that she knew not to drink it, because it's kind of icky. It's salt water. But she was really grateful that I had carried back water for her and swept her floor. But it reminded me of the fact that many of us don't count our blessings the same way that others do. Because she felt very blessed with her little home in her little backwoods of Appalachia, dirt floor, having to go get her water and bring it back. She grew her own garden. She did have someone that took her into one of the stores to pick up meat and those kind of things. She did have electricity, but she just did not have a finished floor. And she had a wood stove to keep for the heat in the winter. So, but she felt very blessed. And I realized then blessings come in many forms. And for this woman, this was her way of life. It wasn't mine to look down on her, but it was mine to accept that she was okay with it. So I had to be okay with it. So yeah, these people are tough people. They will take care of each other and take care of themselves if they have to. But I did find that rather interesting about the little stories, seeing where FEMA told them that they're not, they have to apply to do the work that they're doing. And I always find it funny because we had It was one of the spokespersons for Obama on his, I can't think of his name, but he had basically said people there in North Carolina, they're just not even smart enough to be able to figure out how to vote during something like this. And then, of course, you go back and you see where they've taken the beds of trailer tractors to make bridges until they can get a regular bridge in place. And I'm thinking, yeah, they're not smart. They're a lot smarter than you. They're problem solvers. So that's a big difference. All right, guys, that is it. I'm going to go. I need to get some things done. And I will see you again later sometime this week. Everybody have a great week. And remember, don't let the elephants and the donkeys drive us apart. There'll be a new election in 4 years. And for those of you that aren't considering voting because you don't like either candidate, maybe you can do what the rest of us do. Vote the least of the two evils. All right, guys, that is it for today. Bye.